As many of you know, I do a lot of material on the subject of obsessive compulsive battlegrounds and navigating through some of the trenches that come up in this area. One of the things that I notice in my work with people, in my interactions with them in this battleground, is there's a lot of confusion around the subject of denial, that they actually misplace the workings of denial and they label certain things in their life denial in the wrong way. In fact, when they start to move forward in new directions, they often feel like, oh my goodness, I'm in denial of that subject that I normally obsess over. And I want to help create clarity over where we are actually in denial, because the very nature of the battleground is twofold. Obsession, meaning there's a topic or an issue that creates disturbance within you. It could be anxiety, it could be guilt, a sense of conflict, confusion. So the problem with this is that this becomes a distractor. It becomes something that we focus in on and we become compulsive over. So compulsions range from so many different things. You overthink, you ruminate, you ask for forgiveness, you edit, you spin, you cycle spin more, you worry, all these different things that we try to do. We pray, we behave in certain ways to try to fix the obsession. What we don't realize is this right here is where denial is actually happening. The subject itself is distracting you. It's pulling you away from actually dealing with the issues in life that actually inflame obsessive compulsive issues. Because people who struggle with OCD, they struggle with distortions. There's 7 of them that I talk about, but there's others. They struggle with cognitive distortions, filters in how they see things that feed this obsession to say, this is the problem. No, this isn't the problem. The way you're approaching the subject is a problem. The way you approach your thoughts, the way you approach your thinking patterns. Now, underneath, if we take this obsession and this compulsion and we put a blanket over it, we'll look here and there's actually areas of our life that obsessive compulsives, they ignore and they move past. One is pain. They don't know how to deal with pain because pain is awkward. There's a lot of emotions and feelings. There's brokenness. It's not black and white. There's a lot of process in it. There's a lot of ugliness to emotions and feelings that we're working through. They respond to pain by ratcheting up their compulsive activity. So they feel like if I do the right thing and get this thing solved, then I will answer this and I will feel better. But nope, it sends them into a land of distraction. Their compulsive behavior feeds this distracting world. So the next thing they're not dealing with is they're not dealing with any emptiness in their life, because emptiness proliferates. It inflames obsessive compulsiveness because we feel low. We may feel depressed. We may be going through depression. Many OCDers don't even realize they're going through depression. And so it never gets dealt with because they're in their constant spin cycle. Then when they do go, you know what, I'm depressed, they take it back into their obsessive compulsive. You know what? They may have salvation OCD. I feel empty. I'm empty because I'm not saved. And I got to figure out, am I really saved, right? I'm empty because I have these bad thoughts. I'm empty because I'm in the wrong relationship. I'm empty because their interpreter is off. So it's constantly feeding a distracted direction. But yet they're in denial of these things. They're not dealing with these areas of their life. They think this is what needs to be dealt with. This is the focus. That's why I teach the problem is not the problem. So the distortions are constantly feeding this cycle. They're not dealing with their lack of nurture. They don't know how to receive comfort, nurture themselves. They try to receive nurture through obsessiveness and compulsiveness. They don't know how to land. This is the big area, is TULA, T-U-L-A, total unconditional loving acceptance. They, in their behavior, are convinced they are loved when they get this right, because love talks about relational safety. So they're convinced of that. There's a constant pressure that they live under, and they have a struggle working through their emotions. They don't know how to navigate those painful, awkward, they don't know how to deal with weaknesses or struggle or even stuff that they've been through. I notice even in my life, I would move right past very obvious painful experiences, very obvious areas of brokenness. I'm talking people in my life who weren't necessarily mental, emotionally super aware. Even they would say, hey, Mark, you probably have some areas like this that maybe you need some time to work through. I was in, nope, this is what I got to deal with. And it wasn't until I realized this is where the denial is. We're not actually dealing with these areas here. So here's the takeaway. When you recognize, okay, here's the obsession, whatever the subject is you spin about, or subjects, maybe many of them, and you start to realize, here's my compulsion. Now, what I bring into the picture is I bring into your understanding compassionate grace. Compassion speaks to the love of God, His kindness, His patience, His embrace. Grace speaks of His empowering work, the journey you're on of relationship, the journey of learning. So I bring this into the picture because everything needs to be done in this. And there's a disconnect with obsessive compulsives. Now, we bring this into the picture. What we're going to do, in kindness and the love of God, love towards ourselves, we're going to starve the compulsion. So you have a spin out over something, you're not going to Google it. You have a spin out, you're not going to do the confession. You're not going to do that ritual or that thing that you do. You feel the fear, it rises up, you're not serving the compulsion. Because over time, you're going to learn to not be afraid of this issue anymore and be able to walk through it and see it in balanced perspective. Because obsessions do not allow us to see the subject in a balanced perspective. But the problem is, once you starve the compulsion, you walk now in a new direction. Let me make sure I have enough room on the screen. Yeah, I do. You're walking in a new direction now. You're starving this. You will have a withdrawal symptom. And the withdrawal symptom is going to appear like denial. It's going to yell out, hey, you need to go back to this because you might be in denial that you've committed the unpardonable sin. You might be in denial that you don't have salvation right. You might be in denial about your thought life and the yucky thoughts that you have. You might be in denial that your relationship OCD needs to be fed. You're in denial of this. What is that statement saying? It wants to bring you back because this is a withdrawal symptom. Your body and mind, your being is used to living obsessive compulsively in how you respond to the thought. Again, we are shifting how we respond to our thinking by no longer serving the disturbance that's rising up within us. But one of the things that I notice over and over and over again is we'll think, no, I'm in denial right now. It's kind of smudgy how it's written there, but I think it's good that the marker's smudgy because it's a it's a deceptive, toxic way of trying to kick back. But this is lying. Where you're in denial of is these areas. You're not making room for dealing with pain, emptiness, and brokenness. No. You're not dealing with total unconditional loving acceptance because when this rises up, these things need to be worked through. I need to learn how to be loving, kind to myself, gracious, become a compassionate witness of grace. And it goes, no, you got to go over here. The grand distractor takes over. We starve the compulsion. No. I draw the line in the sand, and it lies to you and tells you you're in denial. So I'm here to tell you, let's keep walking into the new direction, walk through those kickbacks that happen, and take your steps into freedom. If this video has helped you, I want to encourage you, get a copy of the book, The OCD Healing Journey. I would also encourage those of you that want to make an investment in your journey to join my online course community, the Healing and Freedom Community, where you'll have access to all my online courses and specifically the OCD Healing Journey curriculum that's available there that you can take advantage of, that I'm now teaching on chapter by chapter in expansive mode to help equip you along the way. If this video was a blessing to you, would you do me a favor? Click like and subscribe. Go to markdesius.com where you can subscribe to my email newsletter. You can also support these free videos by clicking on the donate button on my website, and you can give a one-time donation or become a monthly supporter, and it's greatly appreciated. This is your brother from another mother saying, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. I'll be back with more insights for your healing process. But in the meantime, I'm out.